everyone. Welcome to our continuing series of Connecticut Independence Caucus candidate interviews, and our third conducted for the 5th Congressional District here in Connecticut. We're here tonight with Justin Bernier, Republican challenger for the congressional seat currently held by Chris Murphy. Justin grew up in Farmington, Connecticut, and is a graduate of the Farmington Public School System. As a youth, he received an education in Connecticut's outdoors from the Boy Scouts of America, attaining the rank of Eagle Scout. Justin is a graduate of Fordham University in New York. He later earned a master's degree in international security and economic policy from the University of Maryland, and a second master's degree in international relations from Georgetown University. He is also a graduate of the Englichev Institute on Comparative Political and Economic Systems, a program of the Fund for American Studies, which educates emerging leaders on the values of freedom and free market economies. Justin worked as a senior legislative assistant for 2 years under former Connecticut Congressman Rob Simmons. He was an intelligence officer in the Navy Reserve. He served a tour in Afghanistan in 2007 and was awarded the Joint Service Commendation Medal for his service. After his return to Connecticut, Governor Rell named Justin as Executive Director of the Office of Military Affairs. He was also chairman of Connecticut's Military and Defense Advisory Council, and he has served on Governor Rell's Council on Education for Children and Military Families. Justin and his wife, Jenny, an FBI analyst and former teacher, currently live in Plainville and are members of St. Patrick's Parish. Thank you for agreeing to interview with us, Justin. We're honored to be speaking with you this evening, and we sincerely appreciate your willingness to engage with the wide network of grassroots groups that have grown up in Connecticut and across the nation this past year. Your answers to the 80 Independence Caucus vetting questions are now posted on our website, and we're pleased to be holding this interview. We'll begin with panel introductions, and while everyone here is a member of Independence Caucus, we come here from a variety of different grassroots organizations. So what we're asking each member to do is state their name, town of residence, and the grassroots group through which they come to Independence Caucus. We'll then ask you to make a brief statement regarding the principles of your campaign, after which the panelists will take turns asking questions, and the whole process should take about an hour. Okay. Right. I'll begin. My name is Bill Herring. I'm a lifelong resident of Terryville, Connecticut, and I come from a very small, determined band of brothers and sisters called Connecticut Conservatives.
Frank Short from New Milford, Connecticut. I've been there for 40 years. Before that, I grew up in New Haven and was educated in New Haven. I came here through the 912 project that Glenn Beck has promoted and through Tea Party involvement.
Ellen Morlock from Danbury, Connecticut, and I'm also an assistant organizer for the Danbury 912 group.
I'm Robin Emmons, Cheshire, Connecticut, and I live about the Independence Caucus through Connecticut Patriot Alliance.
Denise Casano, New Fairfield, Connecticut. In addition to I-Caucus, I'm part of the Danbury 912 group.
Tim Lennox, Meriden, Connecticut. In addition to Independence Caucus, I also am part of rightprinciples.com and a member of my Republican Town Committee. And yes, I am officially a delegate, but I am trying to get the rest of my party, and I'm leading by example. I will not make a decision until the Independence Caucus is done.
Alice Lemay from Cheshire, Connecticut. One of the groups that I belong to is the Cheshire Tea Party, and we meet every Monday between 5 and 6. And we will be celebrating our 1-year anniversary. So come party with us.
I will. And I'm Justin Bernier, candidate for U.S. Congress in the 5th District. And shall I give a short opening statement? The reason I am running for Congress today is really, I think, tantamount to a lot of the reasons that you're here today and that you got involved in the Tea Party movement. Back in March 2009, I quit my job, and after after a lot of consideration, I quit my job and decided to run for Congress because primarily I believe that the country was on its way to bankruptcy if we didn't make some very difficult and tough decisions down in Congress. I think the states are also in a lot of trouble, but the prospect of a national bankruptcy is probably the largest threat facing our nation today. And as looking back in history, it's hard to see a greater threat than that. Back in March 2009, Republicans didn't look like they were a good bet. Remember? Things looked pretty bleak. And if you recall, Time magazine actually had a cover with the elephant on it with the question, extinct? And what I'm thinking is that Time magazine may actually be the one that's extinct by the end of this election, because we've had a rebirth. The Tea Party movement is part of that. When I say there's been a rebirth, I mean there's been a rebirth of principles that I believe are going to be essential to bringing this country back on track and really saving it from the brink of bankruptcy. We've got a lot of good candidates in the Republican Party today that are trying to put forward these principles again, because frankly the Republican Party got fired in 2006 and it got doubly fired in 2008. People were not happy with the way things were being done in Congress, in the White House, and they had good reason to be upset. Today, we have a new breed, I think, of Republicans that have stepped up to the plate, that believe in the principles of limited government, believe in the principles of fiscal sanity, and job creation in the private sector. And what I've tried to do in my campaign is promote those ideas that are so important to us as a party and as a group of free market thinkers, and also put forward a positive agenda that talks about how we're going to create jobs. Through lower energy prices, through lower insurance costs, and through reduced taxes that can only come about by lowering government spending. Right now, the country is borrowing 50 cents for every dollar it spends. We're on a track to be about $25 trillion in debt by the end of the decade. And when that happens, we're going to be paying out every year about $1 trillion just to pay the interest on the debt. So there are great, great challenges ahead of us. Talking to my father about this only a few weeks ago, he said, Justin, right now we're facing the largest crisis since the Civil War. And I said to him, well, what about World War II? He said, no, because in World War II we were united as a nation. We had a common purpose, which was to defeat fascism, get the country out of the Great Depression, end the war, and come home. Today we're fractured. Today we're fractured as a nation. We see that today up in Hartford, disallowing flying of the Don't Tread on Me flag. There is an element of this country that doesn't want to see reform, and that frankly I don't think cares much whether our country does go over that economic and fiscal abyss. But the good news is that I think the vast majority of Americans do care, and I think they've been mobilized. I think the Tea Party is an expression of that, and I want you to know that as a candidate, I'm first an American. I'm running as a Republican, but I'm first an American. And those principles that we're going to be putting forward, I think are going to be very reflective of your interests as a group and as a community. And heck, I consider myself part of your community because I go to your events, I go to our events, and I participate. I think I've seen some of you there. And I'm going to continue to do that before and after the election. So at that point, I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.